believe that we have finally made it to the end of Vlogmas. It has been quite the adventure uploading these last 25 days for my 25 days of uploads. My Ulzzangmas has been quite the adventure and I am exhausted, especially with the last week. I did not intend for it to happen the way that it did. As you guys know, I do work full time, and so I was trying to film and edit like in between my work schedule. So the highlighter, blush, both parts of my eyeshadow palette declutter, the Shop My Stash, and my deep cleaning video were all filmed between Sunday and Monday of this past weekend. So it was quite the marathon to try to get it edited and uploaded in time. For a minute there, I didn't think the eyeshadow palette declutter, the part was going to go up in time. I thought maybe I wouldn't have it up until after Christmas, but I did get it edited in time. It did go up in time. It was quite the marathon of trying to get everything done, and I am exhausted, but we made it. We are finally here. Day 25 of Ulzzangmas. I am filming this video on Christmas Eve. If you celebrate Christmas, Merry Christmas. If not, then I hope you guys are having the most wonderful day of the year. I just wanted to take a minute to say thank you guys so much for all the support that you have given me this year, for watching my videos, the comments, the feedback. I have appreciated all of it. It has helped to make my channel and my little small corner of the beauty space just a little bit better each year. All of you new subscribers that have joined me this year, thank you so much. I appreciate each and every one of you. Even if I don't say it in every single video, I just want you to know that I'm absolutely grateful and absolutely thankful to have you guys here. I know that there are so many other channels out there that you could be watching, and the fact that you take time out of your busy day to join me in my little tiny corner of the beauty world, I appreciate it. It makes me very happy. I just want you guys to know that. Now, the last video that we will be filming to close out my 25 days of Ulzzangmas, we are going to be doing my top 10 eyeshadow palettes of 2022. It was quite the year for palettes. There were some really, really great ones that came out, and this is what I consider to be the best of 2022. So we will be ranking these from the 10 spot all the way to number 1. It was kind of hard because I love each and every one of these, but they had to be ranked. You know, we had to put them in order. So that's what we're going to be doing today. Starting with number 10, we have the Nude Eagle Unleashed Wild palette. This is a 6-pan palette from BH Cosmetics. They finally came back after filing for bankruptcy, and this whole Nude Eagle collection I thought was so freaking beautiful. All the mattes in here are so buttery. The shimmers are super creamy, super wet looking. I just thought this was overall just a beautiful little palette. You can pull this out to put together quick little green eyeshadow looks. If you guys are new to my channel, orange and green are my favorite eyeshadow colors. So I get very excited whenever I see palettes with those color stories. I thought this one was just absolutely beautiful. Coming in at number 9, we have the So Fly palette from Colourpop. I think this is my only Colourpop palette in the top 10 this year. There were so many Colourpop launches, but I just thought this color story was so freaking pretty. Perfect color story for like the spring going into the summer. You can do some really pretty cool tone pinky neutral looks with this palette. The shimmers in this palette, this one right here, the one in the middle is shifty. I just thought this entire palette was just so freaking pretty. So simple, but so special at the same time. I really enjoyed working with this palette. I thought it was so pretty, and I will definitely be pulling this palette back out as you're going into the spring. I just thought it was so freaking pretty, and I really did enjoy working with it. Coming in at number 8, this is actually a more recent launch. The Bad Side Zodiac from Melt Cosmetics. This one is the water sign. Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces. I am a Pisces, which is the reason why I gravitated toward this palette. This is also my first time trying an eyeshadow palette from Melt Cosmetics, and I was not disappointed. I thought these tones were so freaking pretty. You have this deep, rich blue right here. Just some really pretty, just soft, shiny, teal, kind of tealy, seafoamy green shades in here. You put together dramatic looks. You can put together something a little bit more toned down, a little more neutral, a little more every day. This formula was really, really nice too. Like I said, this is my first time working with the Milk Cosmetics palette. I've been a little hesitant about it because I've heard so many mixed reviews where Milk Cosmetics is concerned, but I was not disappointed at all with this palette. I love the formula. Definitely makes me want to try more palettes from the brand. I just thought it was so beautiful. Coming in at number 7, this palette really surprised me. I wasn't really expecting much because of how low the price point was, but I kept seeing it on Ulta. Anytime I would go and look up eyeshadow palettes, it was constantly popping up, and I just thought the color story was so pretty, and it just kept grabbing my attention. So finally, I decided, you know what, I'm going to give this palette a try. It was only $8, so if the formula ended up being something that I didn't really enjoy, wasn't like it hurt the bank. Was not going to hurt if it didn't work out. Was financially or whatever. This palette is from Beauty Gems. You guys may remember this. This was actually, I think, 4 or 5 in my Ulzzangmas. So I actually reviewed this palette during my 25 days of uploads. And I just thought it was so beautiful. This entire formula just surprised me so much. These mattes were pigmented. They were buttery, they were smooth, they blended like a dream. It's a very beginner-friendly palette, so if you're someone that's like new to makeup, you're looking for something that's not too overly pigmented, something that blends pretty easily, this is the palette for you. I think you will find this palette so easy to work with. Like I said, the mattes were buttery, they were pigmented, not too pigmented, they blended very, very easily, had no problem whatsoever. I found the shimmer to be very smooth, to be very creamy. They even looked, they had a little bit of a shine on the eyelids. I just thought this palette was so beautiful. It really, really surprised me. Like I said, I was not expecting much, but yeah, it was just so beautiful, and it makes me want to try more palettes from this brand. 4 palettes down, 6 more to go. Coming in the number 6 spot, this was also a palette that surprised me. This is from KVD Beauty. I have been wanting to try palettes from KVD Beauty for a while, and I just never saw one that really just caught my attention until this one. It's the Moon Garden Vegan Eyeshadow Palette. There are 12 shades in this palette. This is what our cover is looking like. I just think that is so freaking pretty. I do wish that it was not like a big box. I hate when companies do that, but this palette was beautiful. It goes vertical instead of horizontal. Like I said, there are 12 shades in this palette. These mattes are so buttery, so smooth. They build up. They build up on each other, which is really nice. I didn't have any problem working with this palette. The shades, the shimmers are so pretty. The only thing that I would change is to make some of the deeper shades mattes. When all of the deeper shades are shimmers, it makes it difficult to deepen, an eyeshadow look to give it a little bit more dimension. That's the only thing about the palette that I would change, as well as like the bulky boxing. But this is my first time trying an eyeshadow palette from KVD Beauty, and I loved it. And I definitely want to try some more palettes going into 2023. I want to try more from the brand in general going into the new year. I thought this palette was stunning. We have made it to our top 5 palettes of 2022. Coming in the 5th spot is from Mora Cosmetics. It is the Time to Shine eyeshadow palette. I thought this palette was just so beautiful, packaging and everything, other than one of the Hocus Pocus palettes, the one that came out this year. This is the only palette that I've actually made sure that I kept the outer box and packaging, because it is just so freaking cute. When you open it, the box, it looks like wings. I just thought this was so pretty and so creative. So I keep the box in here just to kind of display it that way, or the palette rather. The one thing that I just dislike about this palette, it's like the KVD one, I hate when palettes are in these gigantic thick boxes. I just feel like it's so unnecessary. But this is what our story is looking like. Beautiful, rich, kind of grungy tones in here. You can put together soft neutrals. You can go a little bit more dramatic. The greens in here are so beautiful. This shade right here was the one that really caught my eye when I was first looking at this palette. I think they launched 4 all together, but this was the color story that just really, grabbed my attention and really spoke to me. So this is the palette that I grabbed. I thought it was so beautiful. The mattes blended beautifully. I think the shimmers are not like super shiny, not super intense, but beautiful, like an everyday look. I just thought this whole palette was beautiful. And, just like some of the others that I tried for the first time, It definitely makes me want to try the brand some more going into 2023. Coming in at number 4 is the Tarte Man-Eater palette. When I saw this palette, I just thought it was so freaking beautiful. I thought it was so special. These are the kind of palettes that Tarte needs to do more. You know, Tarte loves the Tartelets in Bloom, all the really boring, you know, neutral color stories. When I saw this one was just so special. Just so exciting and dramatic where Tarte is concerned. Tarte needs to do more palettes like this going into 2023. This was very exciting as far as the brand is concerned. I thought the color story was just so beautiful, so dramatic, perfect fall palette. I use this palette so many times, put together so many looks. The greens in this palette are so pretty. The shimmers are very, very shiny and just glossy looking on the eyelids. Like I said, Tarte, if you're listening, you probably aren't, but if you are, please do more palettes like this going into 2023. Very exciting, so pretty, just absolutely gorgeous, dramatic, glam, all the good things. Yeah, we need to see some more of this from Tarte going into the new year. We have made it to our top 3, and I will tell you, these 3 were probably the hardest for me as far as ranking and putting them in a spot, because I loved all of them and loved all of them pretty much equally. So it was really difficult to, you know, put them in a certain spot, but we did. And coming in number 3, we have the Blend Bunny 20 Shade Ultra Glam All Done Up palette. When I saw this palette, you guys, I gasped. I thought this palette was so freaking beautiful. This is my favorite palette from Blend Bunny to date. I thought this palette was so stunning. The perfect grungy neutral fall palette. I have pulled this palette out so many times since I got it. I have put together so many looks with this palette. You can go everyday neutral, you can go more grungy, you can go more glam. These shimmers down here are so freaking special. This silver right here is one of the most beautiful silvers in my entire collection. I haven't swatched anything, but I am going to swatch these for you just so you can see what these shimmers look like. I mean, look at this. So special, so shifty. They're just so freaking pretty. Of all the neutral palettes that launched this year, I just thought this was so beautiful, so special, grungy. I love a gorgeous grungy moment, and I thought this palette was stunning. Our runner-up for best palette of 2022 is, drumroll please, the Nomad Hudson Valley palette. This was difficult. Between the first spot and the second spot, I really had a difficult time placing these because I love them pretty much the same, but we had to do it. We had to place them, and just when I think about these 2 palettes, it just made more sense that the one that came in the #1 spot isn't a #1 spot, and that I ranked this one number 2, but it was difficult. You guys know I loved this palette. This was one of the most amazing palettes I thought that came out for 2022. I thought it was so freaking stunning. I just raved and raved about this palette. I thought it was the perfect fall color story. This beautiful artwork on the cover looks like a literal painting. I kept the box for this and put it with my fall decorations. Whenever fall rolls around again, I will pull that palette out and use it like in my background, or use it as just a fall decor piece, because it looks like a painting. It is so beautiful. And this color story and formula, oh my god. Both my favorite color stories of eyeshadow in one palette, green and orange. And then you have these really beautiful tones of red, 3 shimmers going down the middle. This was the perfect fall palette. These tones are so warm and toasty. Over here, these are a little bit more on the cool tone side. These blend it like a dream. This is one of my favorite formulas from Nomad Cosmetics as well. Blendable, super pigmented, but not too pigmented. A really nice kind of beginner-friendly formula in this palette. The only thing I would change is to have some more shimmers. There's only so much you can do with these 3, so I do have to pull shimmers from other palettes, you know, if I want a different, you know, kind of look. But overall, I thought this palette was so beautiful. It makes me so happy. It brings me so much joy. It was so hard. Like I said, between the #1 spot and this one, it was really difficult because I love both palettes pretty much the same. And coming in at number 1, the most amazing, the best of the best, my top palette of 2022, we have from Beauty Bay, the Earthy palette. 42 shades in here. Usually I am not into palettes this big. I find them to be overwhelming. I find them to be just a little bit too much, but I thought this one was perfect. This one is a mostly green toned palette. You have every shade of green you can imagine. You have more neutral greens, you have cool tone greens, you have more warm tone greens, you have more greens that are more teal, lean a little bit more on the blue, and you have like this little neutral section on the bottom too, as well as some shades of red and orange. When I thought about the Hudson Valley compared to this one, it made sense that this one would come in the number 1 spot because I can do a lot more with it. That's the main reason why I put it in the number 1 spot. There is pretty much an unlimited amount of looks that I could put together with this palette. And where I usually find palettes this size to be overwhelming, I don't find them to be overwhelming at all. I find it to be very inspirational. I want to just pull it out all the time and just do so many looks, try out so many more of these shades, so many more of these formulas. I just thought this was such a unique and fantastic idea that Beauty Bay did this year with these particular palettes. I thought this palette was so stunning. I loved working with it. The mattes, the shimmers, everything about this palette was amazing, and that is why it is the number 1 palette, the best of 2022. That is it for the top 10 palettes of 2022, and that is also it for Ulzzangmas. I cannot believe that we finally made it here. Like I said, the last week especially was like really hard, and I wasn't sure if I was going to get all the videos edited and uploaded in time, but we did it. We made it. Thank you guys so much for an amazing year. I am going to be taking a break for the next week. I may film something on New Year's Eve to post on New Year's Day. That's what I've done the last couple of years. But really, it just depends on how I feel because I have been filming and editing and uploading so much. I am wore out. I am drained. I am exhausted. I am wiped. And I just need both a mental and a physical break. I love you all. Thank you so much for such an amazing and just fantastic year. And I can't wait to see what we do together in 2023. I hope your Christmas was absolutely amazing. If you celebrate, if not, I hope you had a wonderful, fantastic day. Be safe, take care of yourself, and I'll see you in the new year.